Greetings, comrades. I'm Jenny. Welcome to Modern Socialist. Today's video is entitled Fast Fashion, Huge Damage. But first, a heads up. I've got a lot of facts for you today, but I think these are important enough for everyone to be aware of them. The fashion industry, which makes over 80 billion items of clothing a year, is one of the most damaging industries on the planet. Actually, it is the second most polluting industry only after the fossil fuel industry itself. In the last 15 years, worldwide clothing production has doubled and is forecast to continue this unsustainable growth well into the future. Fashion is worth £32 billion a year to the British economy and 2.5 trillion globally. According to a survey by Fashion Revolution, British fashion shoppers spent about £3.5 billion on Christmas party clothing last year, and 8 million of those sparkly items of clothing will find their way to landfill after just one wear. In 2018, £140 million worth of clothing was sent to landfill in the UK alone, equating to around 350,000 tonnes of unwanted garments. An average Western household is estimated to dispose of 30 kilos of clothing annually, and of that 30 kilos, only 4.5 is recycled or donated. The rest going to landfill or to be incinerated. Fashion is wasteful then. So let's have a look at a t-shirt as an example. The cotton is grown using nitrogen fertilizers, which release nitrous oxide, a greenhouse gas 300 times more powerful than carbon dioxide. Globally, the cotton industry uses 22.5% of all insecticides and 10% of all pesticides. For every tonne of clothing produced, 10 kilos of pesticides are used. 20,000 litres of water is needed to make 1 kilo of cotton. That's 2,700 litres of water for one t-shirt, which is enough drinking water to last one person for 2.5 years. That's water that's sorely needed in the hot, dry countries where cotton is typically grown. These t-shirts are worn just an average of 22 times, and if they go to landfill, they can take up to 40 years to break down. All that time releasing methane, which is 600 times more powerful a greenhouse gas as carbon dioxide. Nitrous oxide is also produced in the manufacture of man-made fibres alongside carbon dioxide, which is produced in the extraction of the fossil fuels that are required in the manufacturing process. Man-made fibres are actually plastics, and they release plastics into the environment when they go through the wash. It is estimated that 500,000 tonnes of these microfibres end up washed into the sea each year. And when the garments end up in landfill, they also release these microplastics into the soil. In 2017, the fashion industry consumed almost, get this, 80 billion cubic metres of water, enough to fill 32 million Olympic-sized swimming pools. That's just mind-boggling. You can't even picture it in Olympic pools. And a tonne of dyed fibre needs up to 200 tonnes of water to produce. The wastewater from clothing manufacturing can contain lead, arsenic and mercury. And as fast fashion is mainly made in poorer countries with weak regulations, this waste can end up being washed into the local drinking water supply, effectively poisoning the local population. And most importantly for climate change, the fashion industry creates 5% of the world's greenhouse gases, as much as the entire aviation industry or the whole of Russia. And these emissions are forecast to grow by 63% by 2030. And that is the last chance when we are supposed to be carbon neutral to stop a 2 degrees C rise in global temperatures. To tackle these problems, Western consumers must learn to be less acquisitive and materialistic. We, in particular, must learn to make do with less clothes, especially of the fast fashion variety that are not sourced responsibly. But we need clothes, and, well, it is a great feeling to be dressed up all gay and pretty, isn't it? I know, I certainly like it. So what can we do to mitigate this damage? Well, we must look for clothes that come from environmentally sustainable sources and are manufactured ethically away from sweatshops. We can also make better use of clothes from charity shops and clothes swaps, which can also be a fun way of getting new outfits too. It's also easy for us to make better use of the clothes we already have. Why not shop your closet and try creating new outfits from what you've already got and wear them in creative and imaginative new ways? I've linked to some videos and other sources below to help you get fashionable in a sustainable way. By thinking green before we buy clothes and by shopping savvily, we can all actually make a difference to the environmental destruction being wrought by the fashion industry. Right. Did you enjoy my video? If you did, give me a thumbs up. Any questions, any comments, leave them down below. I promise I will have a read. Subscribe, click the bell, ring the bell to be notified when more content comes out. And I thank you all for watching. So long, comrades.